So with that, let's go through some of our other questions that we have. I know that nobody really has magical ball, so nobody can predict the market, although I've seen a lot of social media posts about people predicting what's going to happen next year or year after. Everybody's waiting for that moment of, yeah, everything's going to be great. But nobody really does. Even the most expert in economy, right? They even say that they cannot predict it. They basically look at the history and they kind of estimate or guesstimate what may happen. So with that in mind, from your experience and point of view, what do you think we could experience in the next 6 to 12 months?
So, sure, the answer to that is to look back at history. If you go back and look at what rates have done, they've always been up and down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're at that high point right now, so it's more than likely it will increase. Now, nobody thought they were going to get this high,
Right.
but the market is such that this is only the Federal Reserve taking their actions to try to curb inflation. There's a delay, so when the federal funds rate, or the federal, you hear the Federal Reserve raising the rates, that's really short-term rates for other banks to borrow money. That has to filter down. So when they make something happen today, it takes a few months for that effect to set into the economy.
The consumers, basically.
To the consumers.
Okay.
And so that's why you're going to continue to see them maybe short-term, maybe adjusted upward, but then you'll start to slow. It will take effect, and then it'll start to come back down again, because that's just the way it works.
That's great. I mean, that's what I'm hearing basically from experts like Stan in this business who have lived through actual real recessions and they can really tell the difference. So that's great news. Next question, actually, I got this from some of the first-time homebuyers. What are the most important thing for somebody who's looking for a house for the first time and they found this place and they have pre-qualifications and all of that? What are the important thing for those young couples? Basically, just purchasing their first dream home and they want to make sure they have all their ducks in a row.
The most important thing is to start early. If you think you're going to buy 6 months from now, 12 months, 24 months from now, don't wait 6, 12, 24 months before you start deciding what you need to do. You need to talk to somebody in the industry right now, a trusted financial advisor or lender, and say, okay, these are things you need to do. One of the biggest drivers of rates is credit score. So if you have a lower credit score, you may be able, we've got loans available for people with 550 or above on credit scores. But those interest rates are going to be different than if you have 750 or above. So what we can be doing in the meantime is sharing advice on how to get that score up as much as possible. What people think is, oh, I'm going to pay off all my credit card debt, I'm going to close my accounts, and that's going to help me. The answer is that actually drops your credit score.
That is very interesting. So if you pay off your debt and close the account, did you all hear that actually? So if you pay off your debt and close your account, that actually drops your credit score. That's very interesting.
You want to pay the account off, but you want to leave the account open.
Open, there you go.
Because what part of makes up your FICO score is your percentage of available credit to how much you have currently. So if you've maxed out your credit cards, that's going to have as much as a 100-point drop in your credit scores.
Right. Okay.
So you want to pay down the debt and get your cards to the 30 or 35% or below on your available credit. Now, that's one of the things what you do. What if you don't have the money to put it up, to deal with it now? Get an increase on your credit card availability, your credit line. That can help on your credit score, okay? Have installment loans. Have a mix of credit. They look at, do you have credit card loans? Do you have installment loans? That shows a past track record of being able to handle credit. So we can deal with most any credit situation.
Mm-hmm.
So life happens, things happen. People recover from that, and we can address those. But if you want to impact the rate the most, that's what you want to do. And then just make sure you're doing all the right things, getting in. Like for example, if you have a car loan. So one of the things people don't really realize is your car loan is counted against you when affecting what's called your debt to income ratio when you go to qualify. Most lenders, if that car loan is 10 months or less remaining, don't count that debt against you.
Oh, that's interesting.
But you need to do it before you apply for a loan, not afterwards. Because if you already have it and say, oh, we're going to pay an extra 2 months down, It doesn't really work that way. So things you need to do in advance to prepare yourself. Maybe you can't pay it off, but you can refinance the car loan, get that lower payment, and we use the lower payment. And so there's all kinds of things we can advise you on, even if you're 6 to 12 months down the road, and that can make a difference.
Those are very great, like those are great points, right? I just didn't even know, like you should not close out your account.
Right.
Or so if you're a first-time home buyer and you're really in the market, you really want to make the move and you have some questions around your credit score, your history, and if you have some issues that you want to work through with an expert and get those taken care of before you put an offer, before you actually go for pre-approval, reach out to me and I will definitely connect you with Stan and his team. They're experts in this area. They will make sure you have a plan to get to a point that you can afford the house that you're looking for. Next one is the investors. So there are a lot of investors in San Diego, and I'm actually working with several investors in Southern California. And one of the things that they're asking is that, are there any newer loan options available for investors because of all the changes in the economy?
There is. One of the challenges investors, especially if you have multiple properties, it's a real pain to go through the loan process.
True.
You know, tax returns, and leases, and everything else. So what a lot of investors are looking at today, it's called a DSCR loan for debt service. And what that means is the lender is only looking at that specific property and how's the cash flow on that property. So when these first came out, what a lender was looking for, as long as that estimated monthly rental income coming in was enough to cover the payment, they didn't look any further on the income documentation.
Oh, wow.
That was a get. Okay. Now lenders have gotten more aggressive. You know, one thing about lenders is when the volume slows down, they get more aggressive. Okay, and so they're getting more aggressive. So then what happened is they said, okay, we'll allow interest only on these, so it lowers the payment. Okay, that was the first step. Then you had some of them, well, you don't have to fully cover the payment. You need to cover 90%, then 80%. We have some right now. As long as it's an investment property, they don't really care. They look at the proposed rental income, but they're pretty aggressive. Now, the higher the risk, the higher the rate, and the more down payments are required. But investors really like these loans because it's less documentation, they're really easy to get through, and it makes it easier from a qualification standpoint. I had one person who hadn't filed tax returns in multiple years.
Oh, wow.
And we were able to get my one of these DSCR loans.
Oh, there you go. Are you an investor? And actually,
it's easier now than ever.
There you go. Even if you haven't filed your taxes, but you better do that, right? Do that first, and then let's get into this. But if you still haven't done that, then there are options, and we have experts here again to help you through that process. All great information. Thank you so much, Stan. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here with me. And just to wrap up, what is like one piece of advice that you would leave our audience with?
I think just working with people that are experienced, who know what they're doing, who's willing to go the extra mile. Sherman is one of those agents who will go the extra mile for you. And when we talk about the temporary buy downs, that's not a buyer product, that's a seller product. So that's an advantage for home sellers. If you've got an agent that's familiar with it, or people on the team that are familiar with how that works, you can position your home better in the marketplace and offering this buy down, because it's going to put the buyers in a better position to finance, and you can use that in the negotiation. So reach out to Shireen, touch base with her, and just have people around you that have the resources. One of the things that I mentioned was C2 Financial, who's the mortgage broker that we work for. C2 is the largest mortgage brokerage in the country. That's based right here in San Diego. They have over 1,000 mortgage originators right here. I have a team of originators that work within our branch. But one of the advantages to the broker models, we have over 100 different investors or lenders that we work with. We do the shopping for you. We can find the best product, the best rates, and quite frankly, it's hard for other lenders, what we call retail lenders out there, to compete with us because we're getting the rates at the wholesale level.
Right, because your setup is a broker setup.
We're a broker
You're not
setup.
selling yourself. You're basically shopping for
We're
best
facilitating
options.
the transaction, helping you get it through, and we're getting wholesale rates from the lenders.
There you go. So you get the best options with
Yep.
C2 Financials. Well, thank you so much for being with us, for watching this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. More subscribers we have, more audience we have, more information we can disseminate to larger audience, larger network. So subscribe below, keep following us, like our podcast, and drop your questions in the comment section, and I will get back to you personally.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.